Cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We're now into the second hour, blasting out on the AM and FM dial, simulcasting globally on shortwave and the web at Infowars.com, JonesReport.com, and PrisonPlanet.com. He has written multiple scholarly volumes. I've read 2 of his books. He has made a documentary presentation about corruption and decline in the Catholic Church. He, of course, is a World War II veteran. He is a national champion back in the 60s of the TV game show Jeopardy! Pretty darn smart. And he's even corrected me on air a few times with my history. And he is, 86, 87 years old. He is also the, of course, father of the most successful Hollywood producer and actor, Mel Gibson, and so many other laudable things. And I was so honored to hear that he was considering going public and speaking out again about issues near and dear to his heart, and that he would go public first after several years of not doing any interviews on this radio show. And he's also, I consider him a good friend of mine. We've met before, and I've talked to him many times on the phone. We've interviewed him many times. Hutton Gibson. Hutton, thank you for coming on with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I tell you, so much has happened since we last talked on air. How many, was that like 2.5 years ago?
It must be, at least, yes.
Well, I tell you, you really got misrepresented and attacked in the press, but it wasn't successful. It seemed to backfire. But we're not going to be getting into those issues today. We're going to be talking about something you're really an expert on and recognized by many traditional Catholics as one of the most informed people. And what would you call it? Just the takeover of the Catholic Church, or the decline, or the Masonicization? What would you call it?
The replacement, I would say. What we have there now is nothing like the Catholic Church I grew up in.
We've only got a few minutes before we break. Give us a little bit of an overview of some of the issues you want to discuss today.
Well, for instance, the Church has turned into a discussion society. It's meant to be a missionary society. Church has 4 marks. It is 1, holy, Catholic, apostolic. And all those marks are gone in this new church. Especially the apostolic, because that means you go and preach the word. That's what Christ said to do. And he would be with us all days to preach his gospel. When you stop preaching it, you can't expect him to be with you. They've decided that salvation is available everywhere, so why would anyone bother to come to the church, which used to be the most difficult road? Anyway.
We'll also get into, I've got a little list of things here that we've talked about privately. Ratzinger, what he's really doing, how he was praying to Mecca, also how he's been calling now 3 times since he got in there, into the papal seat, calling for a new world order. And also, you've discovered that a new cathedral they built is really a Masonic temple.
Yes, that's they put up this building as a shrine to Padre Pio. And when you look at it, you see Masonic design everywhere. And I mean everywhere. It's too blatant to be accidental. Like all this stuff in the church entirely. It's all too obvious to be accidental. It cannot have happened by accident according to your theology. That building is a demonstration of it. They've done pretty much the same down in Mexico at our Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and then over in Portugal at Our Lady of Fatima.
Hutton Gibson, we're going to break. We're going to come back. Long segment, plenty of time to break this down. Let's get into Ratzinger, what his agenda is, get into the new cathedrals, Masonic temples, and talk about the demonization by different organizations of traditional Catholics, which you are one. We'll be right back. Stay with us. here, after a year in production and traveling to distant lands. My new film, Terror Storm, is complete. Shocking declassified government documents prove that Western governments are orchestrating terror attacks against their own populations as a pretext to enslave them. Terror Storm proves that not only was 9/11 an inside job, but the attacks of 7/7 in London were carried out by British intelligence. Terror Storm chronicles the lies that took us to war in Iraq, a White House program to disseminate fake news, NSA spying, secret police torture, the latest 9/11 information, and much, much more. Terror Storm is the definitive guide to the history of government-sponsored terrorism. It's an anthology of government crimes. Terror Storm is a film that everyone who wants to be truly informed must see. Get your copy today at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com or by calling toll-free 1-888-253-3139 or watch it right now online at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Are terrorist cells or prime terror targets located near you? Where are military bases and hazardous waste sites located? How do you find the best area for solar, average rainfalls, fish contamination advisories, and major transportation routes? In the new interactive CD book, Prudent Places USA, you will find the information you want with over 50 interactive parameters that you control. Find everything from housing prices and taxes to brewing environmental catastrophes. Locate billion-dollar disaster-prone areas, the safest cities, ideal solar locations, and much, much more. Complete with over 3 gigabytes of detailed information on each of the 3,000-plus counties in the U.S., including 550 high-resolution, full-color maps and full-color photographs, as well as detailed information and analysis that you need. Get this hard-to-find information by ordering Prudent Places USA now for only $29 plus shipping and handling by calling New Millennium at 888-803-4438 or order on the web at berkeywater.com.
It's a fact. You can legally eliminate credit card debt, which has been fraudulently created by the banks. Since its creation in 1913, the Federal Reserve has not been held responsible for its own debt. So why should you, the hardworking American, be harassed for yours? There's a double standard when it comes to being responsible for debt, and unlike the Federal Reserve, the people of this country can't print more money when needed. Day of Jubilee has created a successful program designed for people that want to stop harassing calls and threatening letters from bill collectors. We also do credit restoration. Join the thousands of Americans who now breathe a sigh of relief because they have legally eliminated their credit card debt. Instead of living each day in fear, it's time to turn your life around. Call Day of Jubilee, open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time at 920-293-8024. That's 920-293-8024 and ask for Robert. Don't wait any longer to get your life back in order.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, for stations that just joined us, recapping, Hutton Gibson, World War II vet, author, researcher, traditional Catholic leader, father of Mel Gibson, joins us. He's been misrepresented, misquoted, and twisted by the press, and I consider him to be a very nice, very informed, good person who's done a lot of good works. And I wanted you to have a chance to hear what Hutton Gibson really has to say from him, not from the New York Times or 2020 or something else. And I'm honored that, again, he has been on the air in about 2.5 years since the whole Passion of the Christ controversy. He is now with his maiden voyage here back on Talk Radio joining us. Hutton, I think the best place to start is how you got disillusioned with the modern Catholic Church, how it changed. And then a few years ago I was reading your book, The Enemy is Still Here, pointing there at Rome. And large sections are about Ratzinger. You were fingering him then as one of the prime controllers of the Illuminati infiltration and control of the Catholic Church, the whole Masonic influence. So if you can, break down kind of how you woke up and then who Ratzinger is, and then I'd like to talk about some of the things he's been doing, calling for a one-world government, a one-world religion, saying all religions are the same. I'd like to go through that with you, and I think once you've illustrated that, how could anybody be one of these mainline so-called Catholics, because they're not really Catholics? So please enlighten us on that.
Well, I got into the deal. See, when I was in this country, I was too far from the Catholic schools, and my children were not being subjected to this gradual subversion coming into the schools about 1960 and 61.